We had a kind of sappy, typical Mormon engagement. We engaged after 13 days of knowing each other, and there wasn't a formal engagement at the time. We just kind of started talking about our life together. We'd never mentioned marriage up to this point. It just happened.
Well, it wasn't a matter of what do we want to do, you know, separately in our future as what are we going to do?
And I knew that was what I wanted. This was the person I wanted to share my life with. I wanted to raise children with. I wanted to live through hard times with. And that commitment, that feeling, is what we've needed to get us through tough times over the years.
Yeah.
Dealing with SSA and a lot of other challenges too. And about a year after we got married, we attended, I was dealing with some pornography issues, and at my bishop's council, we attended Evergreen conference. We enjoyed the company, we enjoyed the people we talked to, but I was in complete denial at that time. I was convinced this was something I was going to get over. This was something that I was going to fix. I had all these plans in place. I had a game plan. I was going to beat this. I was going to me, overcome it said that I would be normal, that I would be attracted to women, and that I saw it as an addiction. I was so afraid that someone was going to find out that I was attracted to men. I'd never been around anyone that was openly gay, except for one brief moment. And so there was nothing in my life that I can think of that would have directly given that to me. The only interaction I had was from media. I remember from a very early age, I was 8 years old when the first time I remember that there was noticing a difference in what I was interested at that age and listening to other kids talk, which became very much more apparent to me as I entered puberty and onward. It was very apparent to me all along that there was something different about me, and that there shouldn't be, was my thought, and I just needed to be very careful what people saw. It was very separate, a very separate part of me. I felt at times as if I had two lives, two parts of me: the public part that everybody saw, and this strange part of me that I didn't know what to do with. But I lived with it. I was so afraid of it, so ashamed of it, that I kept it completely hidden. I never pursued. I was so afraid of my feelings, any potential feelings for other people, other men, that I never pursued it in any form or aspect. I went on through high school, served a mission, and people have asked me if that was challenging for me or hard. How did my SSA affect that? And it didn't at all. It was a wonderful time for me. I was in a position where I had the same 3 companions for the majority of my mission. We just kept trading companionships. I was able to be myself and felt comfortable allowing myself to be myself in a way that I had never been able to before. I had some of my companions were they saw my needs. They saw me as one that was very afraid of himself, afraid. I remember one companion told me, he said, he saw my potential, but he also saw that I couldn't see it myself, and so he worked to try and help that bring that out of me. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was able to connect to another guy in the level that I needed, as a brother, as a friend, And at the time, I didn't think that that was just enough for me, and it was wonderful. So I finished my mission. I came home and went up to college, and was working as an editor for the college newspaper. This was the first time I'd been around the internet, and that was there. I discovered that all kinds of things are on the internet out there for anyone to look at, and it very quickly became addicted to pornography. Worked with my bishop at the time, was able to manage it. I was able to attend the temple and marry my wife in the temple. But all throughout my youth, junior high, high school, and onward, I really struggled with masturbation addiction, and then this pornography addiction. And I attributed a lot of my attractions, I had convinced myself that it was related to those. That was what had caused it, maybe with some other things from childhood. There was no abuse in my childhood, just things people had told me. I had created this story, this network that I used to maintain the image of myself that I wanted to present. If anything, after overcoming these addictions, my attractions were stronger than they had ever been. And I was against my own desires, I was forced to consider the fact that I was gay. I was just so confused. I didn't know what was going on. I was dealing with this every day inside my head, and I was not happy with the way I was acting as a father, as a husband. I was dealing with so much anger and so much frustration. I was always short-tempered. I was always looking for coping mechanisms to deal with this stress. Just run a little bit more. Just go on a longer hike. Just read a book. Watch a movie. Just anything I could do to try and manage what was going on inside my head. And it was marginally working. But there came a time where it wasn't enough. I was worn out and I couldn't do it anymore on my own because I'd been trying for so many reasons. Because that's just what you do. So, was that June of 2012? Josh and Lolly Weed came out, shared a 10-year anniversary, I think it was, blog post, video. They're in the same place as us, Mormon, married and gay, with children and happy. And Wrylon called me at work. And yet again, you have to remember, up to about 10 years, we hadn't talked about this at all. She calls me at work out of the blue and says, "You have to read this." She said, "You're Mormon. Here's someone in the same place as us. You're Mormon, you're married, and you're gay, and it's okay."
And that was the puzzle piece I needed. I had little bits and pieces, but until then, I hadn't connected at all. And it was at that point I could connect. Oh, my husband's gay. I know what that means, and I can put all that puzzle pieces together, and here's another couple, and it's okay. And so not only was I given that last puzzle piece, but I was given it in a way that said, here it is, and it's okay, and it's something that's doable.
So as soon as she said that to me, we read it, the thought that crossed my mind is exactly this: maybe it's okay. It's just a maybe even. And as soon as that thought crossed my mind, I felt an overwhelming feeling of love from God that like I had never in my life felt before. It was undeniable. It was one of the strongest feelings I've ever felt. And the thoughts that came to my mind were, I made you this way. I'm sorry, it sucks. It's what you need. And that's my world turned upside down. Our life turned upside down at that point.
So
we didn't know that it was in a place to be able to turn upside down, and it did. And it started, the next year was a year of acceptance. A journey of acceptance for both of us. As I allowed myself to be a man attracted to men. Began to be, it took a while. And Wrylon was there by my side working through it of what does this mean? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for us? What does it mean for her? What does it mean for our family? We've got children. You know, what are they gonna, you know, what does that mean? And it was readily apparent to me that God was guiding every single day of my life, every single step of this journey. And I made a commitment to God. I said, I will go wherever you take me on this journey. I said, because I have no comprehension of where this will even end or where it can go. I said, you brought me to this point, so I'm yours. I will follow wherever you take me. That also made all the difference in the world. To the point that we're here today. And what God did for me, for us, is continue to put people in our path every step of the way. There were many times where we felt like we were doing it on our own, but just at the right time, out of the blue, we'd meet random strangers that would come into our life and that are now some of our closest friends that would share. Most of them were ones that dealt with SSA too, not all. And
like we met at random places.
That was and they would say the exact things that we needed to hear at that time, time and time and time again. I knew God was taking care of us. I couldn't see. There was no doubt in my mind, and it continues to this day.
With Lucas, I can see that SSA part, and it's actually a wonderful part. And the attraction is just a small part that I actually think helps him have better relationships, and I think it makes him a better father. I see his SSA part as a good part of him, and I don't see it negatively at all. I've learned that the SSA part of a person is just a small part of who they are, and it helps them make them who they are. And many of the qualities of that are wonderful qualities. And there is the complication of attraction, but that's such a small part of life. And the world makes it this grand, ultimate part of life, and it's not. I mean, it could be, but that doesn't bring happiness. What brings happiness is when you make that the whole part of your life.
I used to pray, I spent so long praying that my SSA would be taken away. And I've learned that he's taking me where I want to be, not without my SSA, but with it.
And to become who you want to be, who you want to become.
And that I can be happy, and that he wants, not that I can be, but that he truly does want me to be happy and healthy in this, and that I can live according to the precepts of my religion and find a way to be whole and happy in this.